What's up, guys? Should you mark your work sold on your website, or do you just remove it from your website because the work is sold? It is a very good question, and there's very little information about it. Now, if I fired that question to you, gut question, Nick, should you mark work on your website that is sold as sold and leave it up? How do you respond?
I would do it because it shows credibility instantly. I mean, even if you're launching a website for the first time and you've sold 10 originals, upload those images, mark them as sold. Okay. People will get around that, but it adds credibility that you're a real business, that people are buying your stuff, that your work has value, you know, and all of that. And you don't need to overdo it. You know, you can have a sold section, like there's different ways of doing it. So it's not like polluting the work that you're trying to sell, but it's not a bad idea to have originals up there that are sold. Because, you know, another thing, if anybody asked you about it, is, you know, you can always say it's for the resale market, right? Like, because your work gets resold sometimes, and because of the value of it and all of that. And, you know, it shows authenticity, that this piece was actually authentically sold by me to someone. And, you know, you're showing it on there. So there's multiple reasons. I like the credibility the most, though, by far.
Yeah, there's so much nuance to this. Okay. And let's just put the full question on the table here. Okay. Should you mark work on your website as sold and leave it up, even if you do not have any work that's sold? Okay. And I'm going to answer all of these questions in a massive affirmative yes. Okay. And there's a number of reasons why. And I think the nuance is oftentimes lost on people. Now, it's extremely important for all the aforementioned reasons that Nick just mentioned. The social proof. This is an artist that's selling. This is an artist that's going places. Okay. But also what people don't understand is it is also instrumental in driving your print sales. Okay. Like once the original is gone and it's marked as sold, you now have this opportunity to continue selling that image as prints, which is why we love having the prints as an option. We love having the merch as an option. If they fell in love, you guys, with the image, they want the image. They are willing to take it on these other substrates, right? They will take it on these other substrates. And then not only that, it's not being deceptive, time creating. Okay. It is when you're just getting started and you have not sold anything. Let me put it to you this way, time creating. So time creating, heard what I just said about even marking some things that are not sold as sold on your website. Is it deceptive, time creating, for the person that works at Starbucks or works at your local coffee shop to start work in the morning and put 3 or 4 of their own dollars into the tip jar? Is that deceptive? No, it's called priming the pump. It's called greasing the skids. Okay. Take that piece. If you have integrity issues with it, time creating, I want you to get that piece of artwork. Okay. That you are going to mark as sold, sell it to a friend for $1. You have integrity, and then put the sold banner on it. Okay. Don't make this a battle of morality. No one's trying to be disingenuous. I lost you, Nick. Your audio went away for a sec.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was saying, I agree. Let's not focus on the small thing. That's a small deviation. Yeah. There's a way to do it. You just gave the answer to it.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a way to not be deceptive with it. It's too easy. 100%. You don't have to talk about
100%. And then one of the other things, okay, that's really, really important is the sold stuff oftentimes leads to commissions. And not enough people talk about this, because what they do is they see this image and they're like, oh my gosh, I love that thing. Okay. Your other work is not speaking to me like that work is. Can I get you to do another one like that? And if the thing has been pulled down from your website and it's not there, you're not getting that interaction. So I agree. It's not like something you have to go out of control on, but understand it has with it its own power, right? It has it with it its own marketing, let's just say marketing abilities. And so it's a really, really important question. So that's what I would say. Wine. Couple of things. Why Nick and I are on here. We also have Juan on here. His camera's not on right now, but I saw him earlier. Couple of things. One, we want to answer your questions directly live. That's number one. So if you've got a question, whether you're a customer or not, leave a question. It can be anything about anything. It could be pricing related question, a business related question, advertising, what to do on Facebook, what to do on Instagram. If you're having a fair show, do you need to have a niche? All the normal questions. We love answering them. Secondarily, if you're a customer and you're having an issue, or there's something that you're stuck on, or you need support, or you need to get routed somewhere, that's why Juan's here. He can, on the back end, make sure that you are dialed in, or if you need help with something, or you need a link for one of our meetings coming up, or any of the above, that is certainly an opportunity. So that is my announcements. Nick, do you have anything on your end?
Well, I just love the fact that we are even providing support to customers on this live. Like, and to introduce myself, because some people are asking in the comments, I'm Nick Friend. I'm the CEO and owner of Art Storefronts. Patrick is the head of marketing. Yeah, so if you're a customer and you need any help with anything, because we want to talk to people, okay? Building an art business is not something that you can do on an island by yourself with no advice from anyone and no understanding of what's actually working out there, what's not working, where you should spend your time, especially when it comes to marketing, setting up your website the right way. Like, there's just go down the list of the different things. Building a business as an entrepreneur all by yourself is very, very, very hard. And it's likely probably, Pat, the number one cause of failure if you really want to step back from it, and look at businesses on a whole. And getting good advice is hard. It's also a minefield in the art business because of all the crazy advice that we hear being told to art storefronts members, and we're like, where did you hear this from? Who was the person? Send us the link. We need to go understand who this was. This is nonsense, So anyways, I'm excited for the stuff that we're going to get into here today, but we should say that it's the end of the month. Yep. And at the end of the month is Thursday. It's the last day of the month. And we have a huge deal, a mega deal to join Art Storefronts at a discount with all these bonuses thrown in. Like, we're going to help you grow your audience on Facebook or Instagram, and a couple of other things. Like, we're going to set up your website for free. All right. So if you have a website already and you want to move it over, you don't have to do that. Our team is going to do it for you. Okay. So we're removing all the friction to help you guys run a better business this year. And that deal is ending on Thursday. So if you're interested in that deal at all, in understanding and learning what Art Storefronts does, do they just drop a link, comment on here, Pat, to demo?
I don't know if we have a Juan, do we have an ABW running today?
We have, no, not today. Tomorrow we have an ABW for sure at 3 p.m. Okay. If they comment with the word Zoom, they'll get the link straight to the Zoom session tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay. Next one. So all they have to do is leave a comment, Zoom, on Instagram or Facebook, and we'll send a link to them directly, and they can register.
And that's for the demo tomorrow, right? But if they want to talk to somebody today, Juan, what is the keyword that they could drop a link on, a comment on for a demo request?
Yeah, demo works.
Is it demo? Okay, yeah. Demo. So if you guys drop demo, we'll send you a link to the demo request form. It's also on our website at artstorefronts.com. There's always a big orange button in the upper right-hand corner that says request a demo. That's the other way to do it. And if you do that, somebody will get back to you and give you all the details.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. We have one question that I love is like, do you guys feel art magazines promoting artists' work? I think magazines are they're sort of going the way of, a great many things in today's day and age, right? Which is like, they're only as good as their readership. Now, one of the things that I love saying though is that, especially when it comes to magazines, and I should say I've got experience in this because I've advertised in magazines myself, is, and let's assume you're talking about advertising and not talking about getting an organic magazine, getting an organic story about you or whatever, which is great. Get those as much as you can, right? But if it's advertising, doing it once never works. You have to be in there for like a couple of different editions, and which makes it really, really hard. That being said, like sometimes you only need 1 or 2 buyers for the entire investment to pay itself off. But my advice is, if you're going to try and advertise on a magazine, you have to do it for at least 3 to 6 editions, which takes way more budget. If the shot is like, oh, you can advertise here in the back for a fee of such and such, and do it once, and that's all your budget is, don't do it. It's not worth it. That's my 2 cents. But I love organic mentions in them. I feel like everything's moving online. Like, these old modalities their goose is cooked. TV ads, not good anymore. Plummeting. Radio advertising, plummeting, right? Magazines plummeting, newspapers plummeting. Like, if it's not digital, you're just not reaching as many as you can. That's what I would say. Oh, Almaretti, this is such a great concept.
Good question. You got some great questions in the comments. We'll get to them, guys. We'll get to all of them. Drop your questions, any art business questions in the comments.
Yeah. So this one about festivals, like we have such a thorough and epic guide to doing shows. One, what is the keyword? Is it just shows? You have to add yourself to the stage.
Yep. Yep. It's just shows with shows.
If you,
Ultimate guide.
sorry.
Yep.
Okay. If you leave a comment, Almaretti, with the word shows, SHOWS. Okay. I have the most comprehensive guide to what to do at shows. This thing is so in depth. It walks you through everything that you need to do, including exactly how to answer that question, which is how to get people to your website directly after the fact. We have, Nick, quite a few customers that still do shows and fairs on a regular basis. We totally encourage that. We totally love it. I mean, they're great ways to gather leads. They're great ways to have real conversations. It forces you to merchandise, i.e. get all of your work so it's ready to be shown in a booth and what that might look like. So they're fantastic opportunities to sell art, and we're constantly teaching how best to do that and what it looks like. So that's what I would do. Just leave that comment, shows. Okay, thanks, Juan, for that comment on that. What other questions did we get in here? Yeah, Euro Smokingville just lost his gallery, right?
Yeah.
And now he's got to go all digital. Like, how many times are we hearing that?
Heard that so many times. And sometimes it's the gallery, they want to, your stuff isn't selling as well. It's taking up wall space. Their wall space is finite. And so they want to move you out and try something else. Sometimes it's the gallery really struggling, going out of business. Yep. We hear that a lot. I mean, the galleries going out of business was a huge problem prior to COVID, and COVID only accelerated it. Yeah. And, we're not against the galleries at all. We support the galleries. We want the galleries around. Like, it's good for art. But at the same time, what's better for artists is being able to market and sell direct to your customer. Selling through a gallery is selling indirect, you guys. That means there's a middleman in between. There's a third party that you're selling to who is then selling to the customer. Okay. And that's the way, like, even though you're on consignment in a gallery until something sells, you have like a wholesale price you're giving them. They're marking it up and they're taking, the 50% or whatever it is of the total sale price. Okay. But selling indirect is the highest risk way to run a business. Now, again, I'm talking about any business in any industry. All right. It's very common for businesses to make a product and they sell through distributors, right? Or dealers. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the problem with that is that the distributor or the dealer owns the customer information. You don't know who bought it. You're not allowed to contact them some of the time. You might be contractually prevented from doing so, but the value in the business is in the customer information. That's where it is. And so this is one of the biggest problems and catalysts of the starving artist problem for decades, if not millennia, right? Is that artists have been kind of duped into not ever knowing who their customers are, always relying on third parties. And it's why we have, it is the predominant reason why the starving artist problem exists. Okay. And everybody should wrap their head around that. You take a moment and understand how important that concept actually is, to make sure that you're not going to be the next one that falls into that bucket. Okay. Now, this doesn't mean you don't want to work with galleries, right? If people are going to sell your art, okay, and they're going to get you additional customers outside of what you can get on your own, so be it. Absolutely. Right. They're just spokes in your marketing wheel. Okay. But the hub of your business always should be selling direct. Okay. You selling direct from your own website that you own. Okay. And where customers can buy from you directly 24/7. It's essentially your art gallery. Your own art gallery just happens to be online. And the reason for this is when you sell direct like this, you own all of your followers. You own your email list, which are leads, right? If you've heard that, leads convert into customers eventually. You own all of your leads. You got your email list, you got your followers, and you've got your customers. That's a real business. Otherwise, when you're selling through third parties, you're either a contractor or you're just reliant on third parties who can pull the rug out from underneath you at any time. So you just need to go into it understanding this. And it's totally okay to sell through those. but you should always be building a direct business. Very important point. And this will ultimately solve the starving artist problem. It'll solve your starving problem.
For sure. And the one thing that I say, like, I'm mega anti-gallery in some capacities, right? In the sense that you don't have any idea who's purchasing your work. You don't get to build a list. You don't get to understand who collectors are. And that's super detrimental. But I'm also mega contrarian. Okay, I don't like the 50-50 haircut either. But I'm also mega contrarian in the sense that if you have a revenue source that's in your business and it's working, fantastic. Celebrate it. You just don't rely on it in lieu of building your own, right? And that's like really, really important. Janice, shout out to you, number one, because you are a customer and I see how much hard work that you're putting in on your reels. I see you dropping them all the time and it makes me so happy.
Janice really is awesome.
Yeah. You're doing them all the time, right? And we got to give her a little shout out because, you know, she is doing the work like every single solitary day, you know.
She's merchandising, holding up her artwork on camera, showing the actual piece that you buy to the buyer, not just a 2D image, right? Mm-hmm. Love it.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. But you know what I do, Janice? Like when I need to like, you know, figure out what I'm doing, like one of the natural tendencies, and this has happened in every industry, is you get stuck in the industry hamster wheel, meaning you think you need to like follow what everyone else in your industry is doing and get your creative ideas for reels that way. Go down different rabbit holes, right? Like, you know, I would come into here, okay, and I'm just going to show you this from start to finish because it's important. I would go to search, right? And I would go to gardening, right? Like, let's learn something about gardening. And, you know, gardening is another passion that I have. I've got a bunch of passions. And do you know what I'm going to do? I want to start going down the gardening rabbit hole, right? And I'm going to see what kind of reels these people are creating. And depending on what I watch, you know, what Instagram's going to end up doing is Instagram's going to say, oh, they spent, you see, I'm scrolling through these ones quickly. Like, let's say I like this one. This one caught my eye. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was really creative. Now Instagram's going to show me a bunch more that are just like this one, right? And I find that gives me way better creative ideas, like what people are doing in other industries, not just the art industry, to storytell and to do things. And it's like, if you get your mind out of what everyone else in your niche is doing, you're going to be way more impactful. Like it's like a huge level up. And, you know, treat it like a job, you know, which is kind of fun, by the way. Who doesn't want to think that their job for a minute is to just burn time on Instagram watching creative reels like everybody does, right? But it is your job. Go down the rabbit hole. Go down the rabbit hole and just say, I'm going to spend an hour. And when I do it, you can bookmark posts, okay, which makes a ton of sense. Might as well show this too, because it is kind of tradecraft, to be honest with you. So let's say I'm in the reel section, right? And I'm going through, like, if I see one that I like, you know, you could have a notepad, right, and be making notes and being like, okay, this one was really cool, or this one was really cool, or, you know, this is the one that I like, right? So I'm going to click the three little dots. And what you can do is save the post, and you can see that there's folders here, right? And so you can create folders. They call them collections. They're just folders. You create new collection and you go reels ideas, right? And so what this allows you to do is, as you're browsing, you know, you're like, okay, this is a good one. Oh, this is a great one. You press the three dots, you press save, boom, you're able to save it and you move on to the next one. And like I said, like once you start going down, you know, rabbit holes, Instagram will continue feeding you what is really, really working out there in today's social media landscape. And then you're just like, boom, I'm going to grab this and I'm going to move it directly to what I do. And it's an amazing creative sandbox. It's an amazing creative sandbox. So that's one of the processes I like to do to like take it out of art, because again, what is like one of the biggest problems we all have here, guys? All you artists just follow other artists. We deal with it every day, Nick. All you artists just follow other artists. And it's like, everyone that's following me is just an artist, right? And that's because this cognitive bias that we feel like we need to get our marketing ideas from everyone else in our industry. No, get out of there. Get out of there and put some other flavors in the marinade, you know, and then let it all mix up. So that would be my advice for you. And certainly do not change, Janice, your work rate, which I greatly appreciate. Okay. She's in office hours all the time, Nick. She's producing she's doing her work. You're at 2,700 followers now. even if you kept doing what you were doing right now, Janice, as unrewarding as it feels like sometimes, a year from now, you're going to wake up and you're going to look at your Instagram account and you're like, whoa, I have 15,000 followers. This thing's starting to grow, right? I used to remember when I would get like no likes, no comments, no shares. And now I'm getting like 10 and a couple of DMs, and I sold 6 pieces this week. Like, that's how it happens. All right, guys, who else have questions? Can be anything about anything that you are struggling with. If you're a customer and you need support, we're supporting you. We've got customer service team here. So if you've got questions, have issues that you need solved, we're solving them. I think this whole live streaming thing is kind of like the Apple store. And we've just opened the door to the mall, to the Apple store in the mall, which is really just the art storefront store. And you can come in, you can ask whatever you like. The shop's open. That's just essentially what we like to talk about. But you ran for a second, Nick. I got to deal with something. My door. 1 sec.
Yeah, no problem. I think I was just going to say that I think one of the big things on my mind is, okay. We got a comment, pricing my art, from Maddie Tat. Maddie, and anybody else, if we have a guide on how to price your art, okay, from originals, limited editions, and open editions, and how to think about all of that, okay? It's a very in-depth guide. Type the comment or pricing. Just type the comment pricing, all right? And we will send that to you. We will DM the link to that resource for you. So anybody listening that wants to price their art, better or the right way, just go ahead and drop that comment. So that's really good. Yeah. So back to what I was saying though, Patrick and I were talking about this yesterday. We are coming into one of the biggest art selling seasons right now. Okay. So you've got you've got Easter coming up. You got Mother's Day, you got Father's Day. The next like 3 or 4 months are major art selling times. And so, that's what you guys want to have on your mind right now. If you didn't watch the live that we did yesterday, it'll be posted in our feed, but we went into it quite a bit. And we were talking about how, recognizing when all the big box retailers like the Targets or like your local supermarket or whatever it is, start changing all of their decor around the next holiday. Pat, I loved when we talked about how in the new year, because we're so tuned into this, of when the big box retailers start changing their decor around the next holiday.
Yeah.
And guys, the reason they're doing this is they're trying to prime you to get you in that mode to spend money. Okay, this is a tactic in the whole economy that you have to appreciate, that consumers nationwide are getting programmed to spend money, whether it's Valentine's Day or Halloween or all of this stuff. It's just the way it is. When you start understanding it, then you can make sure that your art marketing strategy is kind of going with that flow, with the wind at your back, and not trying to fight against these things that are actually happening. And that's what ultimately makes your marketing a lot easier. But what was so fascinating, Pat, was literally the day after New Year's. Like you and I both, you go to Target, you go to the supermarket, it's like January 2nd. What did they have? All the Valentine's Day stuff was out. Now, why? Why would it be out on January 2nd, you guys? Yeah. Like, why? Just think about that. Why overnight? And just think about the level of planning that had to go down because it was so important to them to actually have
months in advance,
months and months to get all the candy, all of the decor and all of that. And then overnight, they got to do this during the nighttime. And so that the next morning, everything is in there and ready to go. Okay. The reason they do it, you guys, is because this works. Okay. And so speaking of which, with Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day coming up, we're getting like literally days, if not a week or two away from where I think it's about a week away from when the Easter marketing needs to begin, because you need to start it well before the holiday actually comes. And that's why when all of us right now, as we speak, go to any of these big box retailers, what do you see right now in there? You see the Easter section. Okay. And so these are very big art selling holidays. And so for those of you who are, wondering like what's coming up, what do I need to be focused on in order to be selling art? And you're kind of just like, I don't know what to do. Like, that's what you need to be thinking about. And obviously for our customers that are on here, we provide the full plans of exactly what you should be doing every single day to take advantage of these holidays, right? But that's the big thing right now is this is all coming up, and you got to stop missing these things. You got to stop missing these things. Yeah. The biggest mistake that the majority of artists and photographers make, the thing that makes them different from the people who are really successful, the people who are really successful never miss these. Never miss them all year long. It is as simple as that. So when you're thinking about like, oh, I think my biggest problem right now is, my theme on my website, or the fact that I don't have SEO, or like all sorts of nonsense. If you have not identified that there are major times of the year, and they're happening every month, there's like usually like around one a month, sometimes there's two a month, where people are pulling out their wallets and are primed to buy, and you aren't taking advantage of that, that's your number one problem.
Yeah. And I want to address something too that came up that's really interesting. And it was the comments a little bit higher up here, and we don't have it pinned, but time creating is like, yeah, your marketing only has 3 choices: painting, sculpture, craft, and photography, right? And where she's getting that from, she's getting that from our demo form, like asking you to fill out what type of an artist you are. And I think one of the things that needs to be said that we didn't necessarily do in the past is we sort of focused on artists that are just wall artists, right? And we sort of left out a lot of the crafters and a lot of the sculptors and a lot of the jewelers, and the wood turners, right? Metal craftsmen of every stripe imaginable. I mean, I've seen so many different niches. And I think we had some reasons for that early on. And then what has sort of come to figure out lately is like, we're not doing that anymore. We're going to stop doing that, because what I realized is like, you guys gravitate towards us because we're the only ones telling creatives, here is what you need to focus on to build an actual business. Okay. And the rules are the same. It doesn't matter if you were a jeweler or a crafter or a quilter or a wood turner or a sculptor. All of you have an attention problem. All of you have a marketing problem, and you need to get all of that done. Right. And you're going to need a website. Okay. And there's not a website that caters to jewelers. There's not a website that caters to crafters. There's not a website that caters to sculptors, to wood turners, right? I've not seen any that do. And so you just need a basic e-commerce site to be able to do that. And it doesn't matter, because the website's not your problem. Your problem is marketing. That's what we need to solve. And so we've had a whole bunch that have gotten through: sculptors, crafters, jewelers, wood turners. We got a guy that's making cutting boards. Like, I want to order one, by the way. So everything's open now. We've completely changed the game on that. And I think that's important to say. We'll have more information coming up on that, because all of you guys, like, the thing that infuriates me is that you're leaving. And where the hell are you supposed to go? Where do they go, Nick? There's not, all they're going to do is get a WordPress site or a Squarespace site or some other Shopify or nonsense, and then still have the same marketing problem. You're not going anywhere. Yep. And I looked at that and I'm like, I'm screaming in these meetings. I'm like, we got to help these people. They have all the same problems.
We have to keep talking about it over and over and over again, right? Because we take it for granted, having been like entrepreneurs and business builders for 25 years. You know what I mean? But it's like, you guys, the number one thing that you need to understand as an entrepreneur, as an artist, is your number one problem is marketing. It is not a website. It is not anything else. Your number one problem is marketing, and it will always be marketing. What we mean by that is getting eyeballs on your art, which is your product, okay? Growing your audience, and how to market to people on a regular basis. There are too many artists, many of you guys, most of you guys who are listening to this right now, there's no issue with talent. You're totally talented. Your product is good. But if eyeballs are not seeing it, okay, you're the equivalent of a restaurant, of a chef that has a restaurant with incredible food, some of the best food that's out there. And I've had some of these, Pat, here in our local community in Austin, Texas, some amazing restaurants that have shut down. And you're like, no, I love that place. The food was so good. You know what? But they couldn't get people in the door. They couldn't figure out the marketing. And so it's like, you look at that chef and you're like, that is a wasted opportunity. The guy's so good and all of that, but they just could not get people in the door, couldn't pay the rent, and they're out, And so you got to understand, guys, once you've got the talent, you've got a product, you're going to have to iterate on your product. What I mean is you're going to have to update your product, try new subject matter, try new, crafty ways of, being creative, finding things that are more marketable, right? That's a process. That's normal. You're going to do that no matter what, but you have to solve the marketing problem. You have to focus. How much time and energy do you spend thinking about the marketing problem and prioritizing the marketing problem? Like if I asked you, each of you individually, like a couple of questions, like how much time do you spend per week, per day, per month on actually marketing and building your audience? Okay. How much time, right? How much of your dollars do you spend on it? Or like, where are you spending your available dollars? Like, are you spending it like paying a designer to like make you this $2,000 theme on your website or to launch a WordPress site or something, like some nonsense like that? Or are you actually spending it that's in a way that's going to actually try to get you more customers, more followers, which is the only way you're going to grow? You got to get eyeballs on your art. It's the number one problem that every artist has. And we don't even have to ask. We know it, right? We always say it. And the thing that people, another important point, we have artists on our platform. We have like Jonah Allen, photographer, right? Sold a couple $100,000. He sold over $100,000 like the last 2 months, each month over $100,000. Now he's doing really, really well, right? But what do we talk to Jonah about? Jonah wants to market more, okay? He wants to get out there more. He wants to get more eyeballs. And the challenge at his level is still there to get to the next level. So it never ends. It never ends. And so this all comes back to this concept of properly equipping yourself for the journey as an artist or as an entrepreneur, right? It's not just if you're going to have a business, even if it's like a side business, right? Even if you're like a stay-at-home mom or dad or whatever, and you're just going to like make some income on the side and you got a full-time job, there's just like a requisite like package of things that any business needs, right? And marketing and promotion is just something that you can't get away from it.
No, cannot. We got a ton of good questions, and we'll literally answer all of them. So don't worry that we skipped over them. Maddie Tat's got one here. He says, I want to market to hotels, repeatable designs and big paintings. How? Someone else earlier was like, hey, how do I get my work into Target? Okay. I got to tell you guys the sad truth about this one. They find you. Unless you know someone that works at Target, unless you know someone that works at a hotel, you've got some sort of a bro connection, or a family connection. They find you, right? And I think far too often artists and photographers say like, I just want to be able to do this, right? Okay, well, that's great. It doesn't matter if it's trying to get interior designers or if it's trying to get into hotels or if it's trying to, be part of an art publication that goes that way or get into Target or whatever else, right? That's all well and good. Still takes marketing, right? And we have this private community called Small Wins. And about a year ago now, I don't know if you saw this post, Nick, or not, but Juan, I know, saw it. We had this gal going, oh my gosh, you guys, and people kind of brag when they get a win. And it's kind of awesome because we all need to be lifted up sometimes. And so we love here celebrating people's wins and such. And this gal comes on and she's like, you guys, I just locked a $40,000 sale to an interior decorator. I'm over the moon. It's so amazing. Here's and immediately all the questions come in, like, all the clapping gifts, right? And, like the happy celebration stuff. But it's like, how did you find her? How did you find her? How did you find her? How did you find the interior decorator? How did you find the interior decorator? Right? Because what does everyone want? Everyone wants to just work with an interior decorator. What's the problem with the interior decorators? Every serious interior decorator on Instagram gets about 5,000 DMs a day from the fabric companies, from the rug companies, from the sofa companies, from the chair companies, from the this, from the that, all just wanting to get into their pipeline, right? And they're like, look, I don't care. I'm too busy. I'll call you when I need you. They ignore all of it. Like the gatekeepers are really, really high. So this particular one here, this gal, she's like, yeah, I know exactly how the interior decorator found me. Everyone's like, wow. She's like, the interior decorator's daughter was following me on Instagram for 1.5 years and told her mom.
Imagine my surprise.
So the takeaway is that you don't just get in there. They find you, and they find you as a result of marketing. The second takeaway is that there's no shortcut to those people. They're the hardest people to get in front of. The only time it ever happens is they come to you, right? They come to you. And it was funny because I was asking Nick this the other day. I was like, because we both grew up in California. I still live here. He doesn't. But one of the things I saw this artist that we all love, which is Wyland, and he posted You know, I know some of you guys that I did the personal whale tail plate for California. So there is a whale license plate in California, like a personalized plate. You spent extra money. And I had no idea Wyland was the artist. I just learned it. And it's like, boom, now he just did the one for Florida, right? So it's the same question. Like, how do you get so that the DMV allows you to create the artwork for a personalized number plate? Do you think Wyland called the DMV? Okay. Or do you think that they called Wyland because he's like this giant prestigious artist and he's done this marketing, right? So the takeaway is there's no shortcut. You start marketing, you start making some noise, you start getting some followers, you start doing live broadcasts like we are. Okay. The next thing you know, those folks start contacting you. That is how you get into hotels. That is how you get into Target. That is how you start attracting the big attention, right? And it's really, really important to just be honest about that, right?
Yes.
Like, there's no shortcut. You have to do the marketing.
You have to do the marketing. This is exactly what we're talking about here. Everyone wants the end result. Everyone. Like every single person listening to this, every artist that's ever been born on this planet that is alive today wants exactly this question, right? Or they want the interior designer, they want the hotel, they want to be on the magazine. Everybody wants it. Box checked, right? But are you going to be the one who actually markets yourself to get out there so that these people can find you, right? You got to get out there. That's the whole point. And you know what? Not that many people are willing to do it. They give up quickly. And that's one of my favorite parts about the art industry. I think there's almost no competition. People hear that and they're like, you got to be kidding me. Like there's millions of artists out there. Guys, yes, there are millions of artists out there. But let me just tell you, as CEO of Art Storefronts for 10 years, okay, we have like 13,000 customers at Art Storefronts, all right? There are very few artists and photographers that are willing to market themselves on a regular basis consistently and treat a business like a marathon that it is. It takes 3 to 5 years to build any business. That includes an art business, but any business, okay? And so many people just want to talk about the end result and not put any of the work in to do it. And so they're the ones that get nothing. And the ones who actually put the work in and market themselves, surprise, surprise, end up with the interior designer or the hotel or the dentist office down the street that wants 10 of your pieces or any of these things. Just do the math in your head. It's not just a luck, somebody just calls you out of the blue. That's just not how it works, right? It's actually like pressure over time, growing the following, growing your email, all these different things, getting out there, even doing shows, all of that stuff, getting more eyeballs. Like it's math that actually creates like the numbers of people that actually get to the bottom of your funnel and end up wanting to buy from you.
Yeah.
You can't shortcut the process. You have to do it.
No. And there's no one that ever has.
And the sooner you start, the better off you are. That's why we always say like the best time to start a business is,
30 years ago, right? Next best.
10 years ago, the next best is yesterday or today, right? Like you got it because you just got to start and don't panic. Just chill, right? And like take one foot in front of the other and just start marketing and getting better at all of this stuff and understand what you need to do. And you will be in such a better mental space over the next 3 to 5 to 10 years as you're trying to build a great art business. Because that's the perspective that you should have.
No, 100%. And the biggest takeaway is like the marketing problem doesn't go away. It just changes. You bring up Jonah, and Jonah's like longtime customer, great friend of ours. We've sort of been mentoring him, helping him, and he's crossed the $1 million a year in revenue threshold. It's a huge threshold, right? It's a big
huge,
and that places him in the top 1% of artists, top 1/10 of 1% of artists. He still has a marketing problem because he wants a $10 million a year business, right? He's trying to be the next Wyland who's doing $50 million a year, $35 to $50 million a year, depending on who you ask. So there's still just a bunch of marketing problems. They don't change. You just keep going up the ladder and you get to the next rung, right?
That's right. And I think that goes back to like properly equipping yourself for the journey. Do you have a solution for the marketing problem? What is it? Like seriously, everybody on this, ask yourself, like, what is your solution in the short term and the long term to the marketing problem? Okay. Is it you? Are you the solution? Meaning, are you on Google, searching how to write email subject lines, how to do social media, how to do Instagram? Are you the expert? Is that your solution? Is that what you think is going to get you there? Maybe it is, right? But have an answer to that question. Write it down on a piece of paper. My solution, my short-term solution to solving my marketing problem is blank, right? What is that? That is your most important question, guys. My long-term solution to solving my marketing problem as an artist is what, right? You need answers to those questions, you guys. Okay. And a website, it's like so many people, I don't know where this mentality came from, Pat, but so many people think that you launch a website and fish are going to just jump into your boat. And like people were just waiting with credit cards in all over the world, for your website to launch and your specific art to launch so that they could just throw the credit cards at you the second it launched and you'd get all of these sales without having to do anything. Right.
I know.
And, it's very important for everyone to know, like all of these websites are just tools. Like they just facilitate commerce, but they're not out there getting you more attention and doing marketing, all of that. The website is way down the funnel. As somebody asked a comment on here, like, how do I get people from my social media to my website? Exactly. That's the right question. Okay. Yeah. That's the right question.
This is sorry. Like, because I've had your question pinned is like, I wouldn't even worry about the website in the slightest. I would go on 100% offense right now, as like immediately on social media, right? Like you got to constantly turn the buying questions into selling conversations and see if you can do that, right? Because ordinarily what we see, if they're not leaving social and coming to the website to purchase, and if you're getting a good reaction on social, something is seriously wrong. It's a disconnect. The positive reactions on social comes to the website and converts. That's just how it goes. So if that's not happening, there's a disconnect. It's either in the work or something weird with the audience. And the only way that you find that out is that you start turning the buying questions into selling conversations, right?
That's right.
And Sari knows what the resources are.
Sari.
I always call her Sari.
So, but like, I think the other way of saying that is that like, there are people that are stuck in the middle of your funnel, right? Yeah. And technology is not what's going to get them down more often than not, right? It's like,
exactly. Talk to them. That's a great way of saying it, by the way.
Yeah. Talk to them. Make a connect, like do whatever you can to make that connection, to try to, like, you got to think that through. How are you going to get them further down the funnel? Right. And marketing on social media, connecting with yourself, with your own content. These are all things that deepen the connection between your audience and you. Okay. And that's the key. The more that happens, the better off you're going to be. And then of course, you got to be marketing your art. You got to be going through your entire catalog, or like whatever you're trying to promote, because you just don't know what image it's going to be. That's going to be like, where the person's going to be like, that's the one, that is the one. I'm buying that today. I am buying something. I'm either buying a gift. I'm either buying a set of coasters, or a tote bag, or I'm buying an original painting, or I'm buying a print or a limited edition, whatever it is, right? Like understand that's part of the game.
For sure. And for anyone that wants to understand like how you turn the buying questions into selling conversations, there's a great episode of it. It's number 57. So just remember number 57. And we have the podcast. It's called the Art Marketing Podcast. It's on Apple Podcasts. It's on Spotify, which is 90% of artists. That's where they listen. So highly recommend you guys check that out and check that episode out. And then, one of the other things that I would say more broadly is like one of the reasons that I love doing the in-person events, period, whether it's a show or a fair, whether it's, you're having a garage sale, whether it's anything, is like digital is great. There's a whole lot of reasons why digital is awesome. Digital is incredible, right? But a lot of times people get stuck in this trap where they're like, I got to do everything digitally. And that means I'm going to put up this website and people are going to go to it and I'm not going to have to talk to anyone and they're just going to check out and they're going to leave and that's going to be great. And that happens sometimes. But the personal connection is always like the greatest thing ever. So when you're in an in-person fair show, and it's like somebody comes to the booth and they're like, oh my gosh, this work is fantastic. You're like, wonderful. It's here. It's for sale. Which piece would you like? Right. You got to have that conversation. And they're like, okay, I just don't think I'm interested in it right now. And then you can say, well, what was it? Was there something that you liked about it or didn't like about it? Is it the price point? Would you like something else? When was the last piece of art you bought? You have this ability to like ask questions and get down to the root of the problem. Do you have an issue with the subject matter material, or is it something else, or do they want a commission or what? It's like, it's hard to get those experiences digitally, which is why we teach answering the comments, immediately and saying, hey, So happy. Thanks for that comment. If you're interested, let me know. It's available. When do you want to talk? Right, I'm available via Zoom or whatever, and all the rest.
And I've got a comment for Dwayne's question above. What marketing strategies would you recommend for getting known locally, city, state? Like shows, local shows, right, that are happening in your town, in your city, in your state, and have subject matter. I see photography is in your avatar, in your username. And so taking photographs of the iconic locations where people, grew up, where they got married, where they do this, where they do that, like all the iconic locations, have that subject matter at those shows. I think this is such an important point. Whenever I go to local art shows, Pat, I'm blown away, right? Like, let me give you an example of like a day that I had, right? My wife and I and kids, we go to a local art show in this, just down in the downtown Austin, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a ton of booths. Okay. There's like 4 booths that are popping. People all over them and all of that. Venture to guess what the subject matter was of those booths,
Local, whatever.
Yeah. It was all Austin stuff. And there was some, it was not only that, it was Austin. There was some like San Antonio, a little Dallas, a little Houston. And there was even some New Orleans stuff in there. Okay. Because that's not that far from here, right? Louisiana is right next to Texas.
Yep,
and so, and then you've got the guy's booth who has probably some of the most amazing wild animal photography from Africa that you've ever seen. Crickets. It's incredible work. Next booth, incredible work. Next booth, incredible work, right? Like really talented people. And it doesn't mean that you won't make sales doing that, but there is a major arbitrage to speaking to the audience that's going to be there, guys. And it's just common sense. It's just common sense. The whole audience there that's coming, if there's 1,000 people that are going to walk by your booth that day, just think about it. All of them live in that area or near that area, or probably have some sort of association with the iconic locations of that area and so forth. So if you can water ski behind that and create some content, some subject matter around that, or some pieces around that, this is an incredible hack to get some art sales and to get people at your booth in a local given area. So please take that advice with you.
Yep. And just to pile on, because I've got it up and running and ready. Juan, confirm for me that we have Meg as a keyword too. We do.
We do. Yeah, we do.
We have a customer that is what you really want to follow here, Dwayne. And it's been so interesting because she's a really good friend, right? And she's been with us a long time. And I've had conversations with her recently. Okay. Like, she comes to us advice and like we're friends at this point. And she's like, she's been grappling with whether or not she wants to be known as the Midwestern painter. Okay. This gal from Kansas City and Missouri, right? Straddling the 2 lines and known with her college, or she wants something bigger in her life. And she was kind of leaning, I want something bigger. And I was like, you know what? I don't think you do. I think you've got it. I think this is a huge niche and you're owning it. So you got to leave a comment, Dwayne, on this thing with the words Meg. It's MEGH. And I'll send you this podcast, okay, which is like an in-depth interview in her whole story. And you need to follow her on Instagram because she has done exactly what you're asking. She's morphed from one hit early on, which was she got to do her local college, which is she went to KU. She got licensed to paint the mascot, okay, and that is parlayed since to, local soccer team, more stuff at the college, doing stuff with the Kansas City Chiefs, being known as the Midwestern gal, and she's like owned the entire thing. And we've got to watch it, which has been mega fascinating, right? Like we've got to watch it from that first gig. What was this, like 7 or 8 years ago?
Yeah.
And then the waterfall of what's come after it. It's like, and then another huge gig, and then she's on the local TV station, and then she's in some magazine, and then she's getting interviewed, and then she is painting a local female MLS team, or whatever the soccer league is. And I don't know, it's just been mega fascinating to watch. Like we've been at this long enough now that we have some customers that have, been with us for close to 10 years, and it's like some of the successful ones, like you got to watch this trajectory. It's like it informs the vast majority of what we're talking about here. And so
exactly.
I love the advice that we get to give, because it's like, guys, this is not like some esoteric advice that I read from someone somewhere at some place, right? Or some stupid guru. I took a course. I'm like, we are studying which one of our customers are doing incredibly well and how, and then trying to systematize it and teach it. So I think that's just really, really important. So Dwayne, make sure you follow her, read her story. Yeah, you commented, Meg. Anyone else that wants to get it too, it's really important to hear from actual artists that are really doing the big stuff out there. And, Meg is one of them. And this is like a great, great interview. And then we have another one too. We were talking about Jonah. We might as well give both of them some love. So just bear with me, and then we can get into this CoPilot one. But you can leave a comment with the word Jonah too. Like, I did mega in-depth interviews with both of these folks, and both of them are well over the $1 million in sales mark, which is incredible. And we have some other ones coming up too that I haven't done, including Betty. But anyway, if you want to hear either of those interviews, anyone that's watching, you can just comment Meg and or Jonah, and we'll send them to you. But you guys had a CoPilot question that you wanted to do. Oh yeah. So go ahead, Nick. You can explain your baby here.
Yeah. So what is CoPilot, guys? This goes back to solving the marketing problem. So CoPilot, Art Marketing CoPilot is what it's called. It's a service that we have for our customers where we essentially run the art marketing calendar for you that we provide. So we provide all of our members with a 365-day-a-year art marketing calendar, which literally tells you every day what you should post on social media and what you should email out, and how to take advantage of all of the biggest art selling holidays. And when I say how, I don't mean like we explain how. We literally tell you, like, 5 days from now, the Easter marketing begins. Your first post about Easter marketing is going to be posted on March 5th or 7th, whatever the day actually is, right? And how you should approach the entire strategy for marketing during Easter, since it's one of the biggest art selling times of the year, right? And so forth throughout the year. So doing your marketing, right, involves you doing social media posts, email, and obviously a bunch of other things. You got to update your website, like your banner and all that stuff. So CoPilot is a service where we do that for you. It's as simple as that. We do that for you at a really low price. So we will do like 30 posts a month on each platform, roughly. There's varying plans that we have. We will do 30 or so social media posts a month for you, and we will do a bunch of emails for you, and we will run your strategy during those times. And so it's basically like a cheap, marketing assistant, a budget-friendly marketing assistant that takes off about, I don't know, somewhere around, like, all of this work, like if you did all this work, it's somewhere around 100 hours a month for a really cheap price, right? And so the reason that we came up with this is because artists are busy. They're not doing the marketing. They're not doing as much of the marketing. And like we said, you have to solve the marketing problem. Now, this doesn't just do all your marketing for you. You still need to like grow your audience. You still need to like be there and like show your face and all that stuff. But it takes away a ton. And what we're trying to do here at Art Storefronts is we're trying to come up with things that are delegatable that we can do for you at a very budget-friendly price. That's the key, okay? Some things cannot be delegated. For example, you guys own your product. You are the creator of your product. Your product is like the number one determining factor of the success of your business. We can't do that for you, right? You got to do that. We can't do a selfie video for you of you and your dog and you holding a painting and talking about the pieces and all that. We can't do it. Some things have to include you, right? You're the CEO of your business. But there's a lot of things that you would potentially hire an assistant for. And CoPilot is one of those things. Like, if you've ever been like, man, I wish I had an assistant, who could help me with the marketing, who knew what to do, who made it easier for me, who saved me a lot of time. That's what it is.
Yeah, flash it across the screen. Okay, we have 8 minutes left until Instagram cuts us off, which is rude as far as I'm concerned, because Nick and I could go for hours. But the current Instagram cutoff is actually an hour, which is boo. You have to kill the whole thing and start over again. Muriel Studio. It doesn't matter whether you celebrate the holiday or not. Your buyers do, right?
That's right.
Ad nauseum on that. Like, it's just a time when money is being spent. It doesn't matter if you think your art dovetails to it. It doesn't matter if you're not celebrating the holiday. Like, you have to get going, and you have to be marketing during that point in time. So
yeah, it's like you have no patriotic art, but it's 4th of July weekend, right? Like, what do we have? Like, we have a whole playbook for this, but it's like, I'm celebrating New Year or celebrating 4th of July. Really excited about this day. And everybody who buys gets a free set of coasters with their art. Let's all celebrate America. Done. You know, and your artwork could be crocodiles for all it matters. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? Like when you think about like Target or the big box retailers that are utilizing all these holidays, it's not like they're all about Easter or they're all about, you know, 4th of July or all that stuff. They're just utilizing it because it works. It's in the psyche of the American consumer. And you're trying to just go with that flow. Water ski behind it. Don't fight it.
100%. Yep. And I've been scrolling up because I want to make sure that we did not miss anyone's questions at all, right? We covered getting into hotels and getting into Target, right? We covered how to market for the holidays. It's really not any different. It's just making sure that, you know, you've got a sail in the water and you're doing what's important there. Juan, did you have a question?
Yeah, there's a good question from Jesse. Do you recommend making prints or reproduction of originals paintings or just selling originals? I think that's a good question.
Yeah, great question.
Shout out to Jim Livingston too.
Yeah, what's up, Jim? I have a mega in-depth guide that talks about what your lineup needs to look like and specifically how the pricing needs to look too. In there, we talk about the importance of prints, merch, prices 0 to 100, 100 to 1,000, 1,000 plus, and how that pertains to, you know, both originals and reproductions. So highly recommend you get that. You can just leave a comment with the word pricing and I'll send it to you. I'll send it to your direct inbox, and you can do that on Facebook too. I'll send it to you on Messenger, either or. And we'll zip it right through to your email box. And so that's that. I think we actually answered all of them. I feel pretty good about that. If you guys have any finals that you want to throw in, we are more than happy to take them. What's up, Gretchen? It's good to see you too. It's really fun. It's really fun that you can like just open the door, you know, to the store, as it were, right? Like I keep going back to this analogy, and everyone on my team hears it, but I believe going live like this, and you know, we should mention that we're live on Facebook, we're live on Instagram, we're live on X, used to be Twitter, we're live on LinkedIn, Nick, believe it or not, and if you know that, we're live in our private Facebook group, which we call Small Wins. And the point of it is like, this is just a store in the mall, and we just open the doors. Come on in. Do you have a question? Are you stuck with something on customer service? Do you want to talk to me? I run the marketing department. Do you want to talk to Nick? He's the CEO. We're just here with our little name tags on. We should have our name tags on, by the way. I'm not kidding. We could do it. We could put the little ones down on the bottom. We just didn't.
Hello, my name is.
Yeah, hello, my name is. It's like, come into the shop, and you know what? And let's talk about it, right? And let's get into it. You know, I think it's such a fantastic mental model because ideally, as a software company, and I mean, are we even a software company? What do you even call us now? As a like a business in a box, you know, for lack of a better term, that helps artists and photographers. Like, we would way rather have a retail shop where you can come in and we could sit down and show you everything. That would be ideal, right?
And I think that's the mindset, like to pass to everybody here is like, you know, you have a gallery, you know, your website is your gallery, but you guys, you know, when you're able to do the same thing that we are and open up your store as if people walked in, right? Mm-hmm. And it's the same concept. It's the same concept, Pat, as the live art show that you came up with, right? Yeah. Running a live art show. It's like you're literally like running a live show in your gallery of you just showing the pieces, and you're at home. You're at home doing it, you know. But making it more personal, that like somebody just walked into your gallery and you're showing pieces and all that stuff, and you're answering comments. Like, this is the way that social media should be used to connect, not just like you behind the scenes, never doing anything, just posting an image here or there with a description, you know, and treating it like it's just this esoteric, like digital platform of this internet, right? No. Try to bridge that connection between the way that we, you know, buy things and connect with people in person. Use the technology that way. Look at how we're doing it. And I always say this. Look, like those of you who have been on here and you're listening to this, like, did you connect with us? Like, did you learn more about us? You know, like it works. Okay. It works. Let people in, talk to them, show them your product, show them your process, talk about your process. That's the way that you can deepen that connection.
Yep. 100%. And it's like everything that we're attempting to do digitally is just replicate what works in the real world. That is such a powerful mental model. It's such a powerful mental model. And like so many people try to get away from it. It's like, no. The best thing that you guys can do is talk face to face with a potential buyer. There is literally nothing else that I want you focused on than talking face to face with your potential buyers. Like, stop everything the minute your potential buyer or buyer wants to get on the phone with you, wants to get on the FaceTime, wants to jump into a Zoom, whatever it is, there is nothing more important an artist or a photographer can do. So we're up against it, Nick. It's about
we got to wrap it.
Yeah, thank you. Anytime you see us on, store's open. Ask any questions you like. We're answering. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks, guys.